Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Um, is the most cliche thing I've ever heard, but I do want to talk about this analogy. You don't know what you're gonna get until you decide which chocolate out of the 12, let's say, that you want to eat. Okay? You'll look at it maybe based on aesthetic or shape or color. I don't know. Okay? I don't know what your chocolate preferences are, but you go and pick out the piece that you're like, okay, this looks good. Take a bite of the chocolate and you are just revolted. You're like, ew, is this chocolate expired? Who would eat a chocolate like that? That's disgusting. So, in essence, maybe what you thought you had wanted wasn't as attractive as you may have thought it in your mind to be. And that is ultimately life itself. That is the crux of life. So, you're revolted. You're like, okay, this one chocolate is disgusting. There's 11 more for me to pick from. I don't know if I want to just even try. I'm going to put this box of chocolates away. I cannot. Like, that one experience was so bad. And let's say, I don't know, 6 months pass. That box of chocolates is sitting somewhere, forgotten about. Until one day you wake up, you go over to the pantry or wherever you hid this mysterious box of chocolates. And you're like, you know what? That was just one chocolate. That was just one experience. Let me try again. And this time, you don't go off of what you think you may like. You just pick a random one. You're like, okay, I'm gambling pretty much with whether I'm going to like this or not. And guess what? You like it. And that is the thing with life. We spend so much time away from the things that we were once drawn to because we have, let's say, one bad experience, two bad experiences, three bad experiences. You convince yourself in your mind that there's no point. Like, I'm just going to give up because clearly this is not working out. And I must tell you, must confess, there have been times in my life where I was dead set on something being meant for me and it still wasn't. And I had come to terms with that and I said to myself, you know what? Yeah, this chapter is closed. I'm never opening this book again. But I'm not ungrateful that I experienced that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not ungrateful. I'm grateful for that because it has still taught me things that are useful and relevant to me today, like what my interests were or what my interests may have been. And you've got to realize as well, this is all a butterfly effect. Like, one thing will impact another, and it's like dominoes essentially falling one after the other. So, that one piece of chocolate that you ate, right? Like, going back to that analogy, that one piece of chocolate you ate, you may have thought, is useless. Like, this is such a useless experience. Like, I cannot take any value away from this whatsoever. Wrong, because it helped you realize, hey, I'm dipping my feet in the water of whatever it is I'm interested in, and I didn't like this version. I didn't like it at this time. Maybe it wasn't the right time. Maybe it wasn't what you wanted specifically, right? So you've got to realize that about your life too. There is nothing set in stone. Like, we are living in a world that is constantly changing, constantly evolving. And I mean, as humans, our mood changes, our mood fluctuates. The thoughts that pass through our mind every day, though they are habits, we can't always, like, foresee what we're going to think about. So I'm talking about this specifically after a whole month of spending time with my boyfriend, which, by the way, if you guys don't know, we are long distance. Prior to this, I hadn't seen him for half a year, and that's crazy to me. Like, can you imagine not seeing your significant other for half of a year? You don't get to hug them, nothing. So I'm grateful and happy that we went through that, but ultimately it was a struggle. So, anyways, blah blah blah. A whole month went by. It was amazing, and I got home 3 days ago. And mind you, before I left to go visit him, I already had a lot of baggage here. Like, no pun intended, before I even took my suitcase out of my house, I already had baggage here. Unrelated to the trip, you know what I mean? So I returned, and you guys know, if you ever go on vacation, even if you move somewhere new, if you try and start your life in any kind of way, what is going to happen is, for some time, things will start to feel good because obviously you're in a different place. Your energy is vibrating differently, if you want to even get into it that way. But things that we are actively meant to work through will not just go away like this. And in fact, will get way worse. It'll be so much worse than you think. Like, not to even get all astrological, because I know some people don't like that, some people don't think it's real. I had to Google yesterday, is Mercury in retrograde? Because every person I've spoken to is struggling in their own ways. They're either struggling with debts, unexpected costs, things are breaking down. Like, I don't get it. So when I came home, my cat is the sickest she's ever been, like so ill. And I took her to the vet 2 days ago. I spent half a grand, as a vet appointment is, that's what you gotta do for your pets. And I'm just like, wow, I don't have a job. I don't have a freaking job and I've just spent half of a grand. But again, you have to do things that aren't of the right timing, because that's how life is. Life will kick you when you're down, and when life is good, you will feel great. You know what I mean? But humans have a bias. We are so biased to our negatives. There was a YouTuber I was watching the other day, and she was like, you could get 100 positive comments on a video, and what are you going to remember? What is going to stick to you is that one negative comment. And that is exactly how I feel about life. Like, I just had such a good vacation, finally getting reunited with my boyfriend, and now I'm just like, boom, like back to chaos. And, when you go through a period of depression, when you go through a period of feeling stuck, you know damn well that the more the time passes in that state, the more you feel like you're not going to come out. And so, even though there was 30 days between my ultimate struggles and feeling stuck to now, I was just like, wow, like I'm really back here living the same problems, living the same issues. Like, I'm just gonna have a repeat of what happened last year. And if you guys don't know what happened last year, I couldn't find any work, couldn't find any employment whatsoever. Yeah, like I literally couldn't find employment. And by this point, I'm gonna be so for real, I was over it. I was just like, I don't even wanna. Oh, I forgot to put my glasses on. Oopsie. I had to help my mom with something in the kitchen. These glasses are wonky. I sat on them. Okay, anyways, diverting. What was I talking about? At this point, I was over it. Like last year, yes, I was looking for work, but I was not willing to work. I'm gonna be so for real, because I was going through a lot of personal stuff in my life. I know I'm posting on the internet where anyone can see it, interpret it, and take it however they want, but you guys have to realize too, any creator that you come across that resonates with you, that you feel like, it's still parasocial, so to speak, but you're like, this person feels like my friend. This person feels like my family. They're still very real and go through their own struggles. And I'd gone through so much grief and loss, and I was just like, I don't really want to work right now. And the worst part is, I still don't have a car. I didn't have a car last year. I didn't have a license. Got a license this year. But yeah, there was just like a lot of turmoil, and I was rather like, you know what? The government wasn't willing to help me with any kind of money. So that was the energy I was putting out. And I had put myself into that spot of depression all through my own doing, all through my own intention. And I know that sounds crazy, because obviously the stuff that happens in our life is so out of our control for the most part, but the way that we handle and control our emotions is completely our doing, okay? It's just the difference between how justified you feel to keep yourself stuck. It fully and solely relies on how much you decide to keep yourself stuck. And at the time, I didn't realize it. I thought, like, this is just my life, these are just my cards, and I'm quote unquote unlucky. I really don't like when people say you're lucky, you're unlucky. And I've been privy to doing this myself for others, because it's just like you want to hone in on people that are doing well in their life, but luck is bullshit. Like, luck is completely bullshit. Yes, it's a part of life's equation, but if you are putting good stuff out for yourself, if you are so disciplined that you just don't want to be where you were in a place of suffering, like that is the luck in question. That is the success in question. Last year, I knew I had a lot of shit I needed to do. I had a lot of stuff I needed to get together, but I became a victim to my own systems. And that is the difference. That is the difference between giving up at the first chocolate that I ate, thinking the rest are going to be revolting because of my first impression, to just being like, you know what, I'm open to just trying again. And I made myself a list on this vacation that I was on. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go home. I know what I'm going back to as a cesspit of chaos, but I refuse to be stuck. Okay, so this may be very materialistic. You may think of this as very materialistic, but if this works for you, this works for you. If you don't have the means to do this, I have other ways around this. So just stick with me, okay? So I made myself a lock-in list. I'm like, when I get home, anything that I feel that I've fallen off in and that I still haven't accomplished is getting done. Okay? So I'll give you guys my lock-in list. My winter arc lock-in list. Find a job, get a car, get my Canadian citizenship, work out 3 to 5 times a week for 75 days. Find something you want to sell, then sell it. Completing any one of these grants you the gift of opening this belovedly delicious perfume. The perfume in question. Yes, we are using material goods to get us to our goal. And honestly, this is not the first time someone's done this. I'm not the first person to do this. I haven't invented this. I remember when I was getting into the gym, I saw something on Pinterest that was like, my partner gets me this when I hit a certain milestone on this. And while we don't want to solely rely on materialism for our happiness, if we are materialistic as people, make that work for you. But this gave me the incentive to carry on, and there's nothing wrong with it. And it's also teaching you discipline in turn, okay? So I said to myself, one of these things, if I can complete them, I can open this perfume. Guess what? It has been 3 days of being here, and I'm literally this close to accomplishing one of the things I want to get done, and that is find a job. Okay. Do you guys want to know the unemployment rate right now where I live? 7.1%. It is bad. And every time I go on Facebook and I look at girls group, this, that, and the third, you know what everyone's saying? Yeah, I can't find work. I'm looking for a job. And I'm just like, I'm cooked. I'm fried. Like, this is, what am I gonna do? Right? Like, bills are stacking up. My cat is sick. When it rains, it pours. And I'm just like, you know what? Even on vacation, I said, I want to work. I want to work. I want to work. Last year, the reason why I didn't get a job, even though I still did my applications, I still wrote individual cover letters, I still did what I could at the time despite my depression, I really deep down didn't want it. And that is why I didn't get it. Simple as. And when we're burnt out, obviously the idea of putting in work and working yourself to the bone is not that attractive, is it? It's like, again, taking the bite of that first chocolate and thinking, this box is corrupt. Like, this is corrupted as a whole. We're not even going to go there. So, that is the crux of the matter. Another thing I want to say as well, in the book Atomic Habits, it does say to make your goals realistic. Like, if you cannot read for an hour a day, like, do 5 minutes. I think that's great. But honestly, I thought finding a job was going to be so difficult, right? And I'm really, like, in my heart, vibrationally feeling so drawn to this job that I got an interview for, that it's mine. Like, it's literally tomorrow at 11. This job is mine. And I'm beaming because I'm so ready for it. You know what I mean? And while I made this list, I expected all of these to be so hard to come by. And now that it says completing any one of these grants you the gift, I just don't even want to open this. This was too easy. This was too easy. 3 days home and I already have a job offer? Like, was not expecting this, like, at all. But that is the power of intention. You can make your intentions so powerful if you know what makes you want to go after your goals, right? It's something that will make you feel gratified. I don't know what's going on. I keep having a coughing fit. Like, this does not happen all day. And the minute I decide to record a video, I'm just like, ugh, dying. But yeah, like, you guys, you want goals, you want to go after them, make them difficult. Otherwise, what is actually going to be the point? Like, if life was easy, we would all be depressed. I'm not saying to put yourself in jeopardy with your well being, your relationships, your job on purpose. Absolutely not. But what I am saying is life ebbs and flows. And when it ebbs, you have to kind of have like a strange level of gratitude towards it because it'll take you to places that will unlock more levels in your life. Like, that is the best way I can describe it. If I didn't spend a whole winter jobless, cooped up an hour away from the city with no car, no license, like literally nothing to my name, I would not realize how necessary it is for me to get unstuck, for me to work on my mental health, and for me to realize, hey, I actually want a little bit more structure in my life. So I just want to clear that up. Life is extremely difficult right now. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but it's just interesting how you can go from one extreme. Like, yesterday was chaos. Like, it felt like life was falling apart. Again, no job, no car. My pet is sick. Like, what is going on? And today, just in the span of one day, like, my cat is feeling better. Granted, not 100%, but she's feeling better. I have a job offer. Like, well, not job offer yet, but I have the possibility of getting a job again in a field that I've already done. It's something I care about and love. I'll say this again. Good things happening in your life. Yes, we can maybe constitute 1% of it to luck, but it is intention, action, and effort. Like, those are the three things that triumvirate the, I don't even know what else you could say, like the secret recipe, the unwritten rule to just getting your life back on track, because everyone's like, lock in era, winter arc. And though those terms, those buzzwords are the two same things that make me want to be disciplined, make me want to get my together, you can't also rely on a trend to save you. You need to build your own skills at your core, okay? So that when these trends do come around, you're like, I'm already ahead of this. Like, I can source it from myself, right? So cute. Look at you guys. So the other point that I wanted to allude to before I was talking about something else was there is an easier way, a less materialistic way, to do your tasks. And I think ultimately it's going to work differently for everyone. But I'm the type of person that enjoys buying a notebook, like the act of buying a notebook and allocating it for specific things. But I don't know why, whenever it comes down to daily tasks and trying to convey a message, or like if something pops in my mind, the only way, or I guess two ways that I can go about it is post-it notes and flashcards. Like, that is how I've gotten myself to stay consistent with tasks, like literally the night before, which for me, like, I'm stressed the night before until I do this. And I call it lock in list. Give myself 4 things that I want to get done that day. And simple. It's on a flashcard. Nobody's overcomplicating it with essay upon essay. And I found this, something I wrote in the summer, and I'm trying to multitask right now, but it says 3 things to incorporate. Hang on. Look at the birds. 3 things to incorporate into your day. Time to unplug, time to rehearse, time to enjoy. So, time to unplug is anything that you normally don't grant yourself, but you know that if you put your phone on charge and it charged 10% more, you can get more use out of it. And it's one of those things where if you unplug, instead of constantly doing work or constantly doing something over and over again, you're not going to gain any new insight. You're not going to get any new ideas. You're not going to give yourself time to think. You're not even going to give yourself space to let your brain empty itself out. So that's why I said time to unplug. So my unplugging was just laying in bed. My unplugging was going for a walk. My unplugging was drinking coffee. You know what I mean? Like, it is so person by person, case by case. But that's one thing. Another thing you should be doing is time to rehearse. So, are we all theatre kids? Probably not. But I mean rehearse in the sense of you trying to channel a version of you that already exists but doesn't want to come out. You know, I always knew that a version of me who is meant to have certain things but doesn't have them quite yet exists. So that's the rehearsal in question, right? And how do you rehearse? You practice your script. So your script is whatever you want it to be. But yeah, make sure you allocate some time into just cultivating and wanting to emanate the energy of the person you want to be now. It's hard to pretend. You know what I mean? Like, it's so hard to pretend to be somebody you're not all of the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Trust me, I'm not asking that at all. Like, it is hard, especially when you're navigating very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very fixed thought patterns, very accustomed habits in your life. You know what I mean? Like, it's difficult, and no one is saying it isn't. But the more that you do something with intention, the more that you experiment with where you want to go with your life, what you want to do with it, essentially filtering out like you would with a coffee, or you know what I mean? Like, you are just putting something into the sifter, something is coming out at the other end, and whatever sticks, sticks. Whatever doesn't can still be used in the future. So don't try and disregard an experience, even if it's negative, even if it doesn't make sense. It always makes sense in the end. It's just a matter of time. Okay? So that is the second part. So to recap, time to unplug, time to rehearse, and time to enjoy. So, what do I mean? Enjoy. That is not for me to answer on your behalf. So, whatever you take time, you know, investing your energy into whatever you like when you wake up in the morning and you look around you, is there anything that your eye immediately diverts to in your room? And if not, what can you do to create something that you enjoy that you can look at and say, like, this brings me joy? That is one of the ways that you can enjoy your time, is to make a sanctuary, make your space your own, and cultivate happy feelings in it, because that was one of the things that got me through that dark period in my time that I always period of time that I always talk about, is just making the space my own. You know, don't try and be anyone else when you're trying to enjoy yourself. Does that make sense? You don't have to be a master at what you're doing to enjoy it, and that's a huge bubble to burst. But again, a lot of it, and a lot of the stuff that I've mentioned in this video, is just letting go, or even taking something out to make more room for something new. And change is not bad, change is necessary. Change may feel bad, but it doesn't stay bad. You know what I mean? So, I'm gonna leave you guys with that. I've yapped a lot. It's literally dark outside now. And remember, take reign of your own life.